So now I would be happy to present you our data, our results, and our ideas about some topics that may be a little bit unusual, but it has some relationship to what we are doing in everything. So it is about Peru. And you know that Peru, it's a beautiful country. It's in South America, and it's quite a big country. And mostly it is mountains. Mountains, plains, deserts. They have some little part here. Not little, but no, it's a part here with jungles. And it's Amazonia. But this part most interesting for us, and this is capital, Cusco. And then, capital is Lima, but Cusco is former capital. So it's a beautiful city with a lot of Spaniards architecture, with beautiful ocean, cold but beautiful. It's local people. They are have very natural appearance. They're using local costumes. There are of course llamas everywhere, and it's beautiful nature. Beautiful nature. You can see and touch all those animals practically at some specific places. Then they have a very big lake Titicaca. It's very high in the mountains, more than 4,000 meters, and people are living there on islands. And this is man-made islands. They made it themselves, and it's very interesting. If a family want to divorce, they just cut this island to half and fly to different parts of the lake. So that's interesting. And they, in their life, it's natural for them to have their costumes. And we had wonderful celebration there with Christian together, with all the team there. And you know, Machu Picchu, it's very well known, of course, it's famous. But of course, to me, it's not the most interesting. Because there are a lot of other interesting ancient buildings that I will discuss about. And all those buildings, they are related around so-named Sacred Valley, from Cusco to different areas, and it's all related somehow to Inca Empire, because Inca Empire was huge empire in South America. You see, it was huge empire from modern Chile to Ecuador, and it was ruled by very, I would say, clever system, clever administration. They had a post system, they had transportation system, but they didn't use wheels. They didn't have animals to carry something, because no horses, no cows, so it was very specific life. But still they were able to organize, and from Cusco, their capital, post was taken to this area in several days. Just by running, people was running, and they have stops from time to time, and they change. People was changing, just carrying this, and they had their writings, they had their books, beautiful books. Unfortunately, all this was destroyed by Spaniards, and they had special, very beautiful costumes, ceremonies. Now it's all very well known, and still they proceed this tradition. We were lucky being last month in Cusco. We've seen these ceremonies. It was some celebrations, and for 3 days it was non-stop celebration, non-stop, from 6 in the morning till 11 at night. So it was really beautiful. And you know that in Peru it was a lot of gold, gold and silver. So it was the richest mines in the world, and they've been using this gold in their life. And now there are something left, something from excavations, because most of this was destroyed by Spaniards. Понятно то, что я говорю, или все-таки по-русски еще раз? Более-менее понятно, да? Ну, картинки понятные, да, потом, когда будет более специфический текст, я уже буду больше по-русски говорить. So, and in Cusco museums, in Lima museums, you can see this gold, huge gold artifacts. So some of this was found later on. Значит, ну, в основном, конечно, золото было все переплавлено испанцами, но кое-что осталось. And they have very interesting art, very interesting. And again, they had a lot of ceramics, And a lot of these ceramics, thousands of cases of their ceramics was excavated because, you know, ceramics is eternal. It would never be destroyed if you don't just destroy it. And it's really very, very interesting because in their tradition was to make jars, it's all jars for water, with interesting sculpture. Ну и вот у них было потрясающее искусство, керамика великолепная, сейчас тысячи предметов найдены этой керамики, и это все вот сосуды. Сосуды для воды, которые сделаны в виде таких вот замечательных скульптур. Spaniards conquered Inca Empire, and first Pizarro, Francisco Pizarro, came there in 1528 with 180 people. And, but then, of course, when it became known that they have so many gold, it was more and more Spaniards coming, plus they were using other tribes against Inca. But it took them 40 years to conquer all this empire. They were in 4 years, they were able to conquer the capital. And they grabbed all the gold, they robbed everything, they destroyed everything. But then, later on, of course, it took 40 years to suppress all resistance. Ну и вот Франциско Писаро в 1528 году обнаружил эту империю. Он пришел со 180 человеками туда, на лошадях. И в 1832 году они покорили Куско и разграбили его, полностью разграбили. Но потом 40 лет они воевали с империей инков, которая сопротивлялась, и уничтожали один центр за другим, пока вот через 40 лет только они смогли установить полный контроль. So all was destroyed, everything. And you know that they had beautiful books. Now only 5 books left in the world, 5. All of them was collected by Inquisitor Landa de Moro. He collected all, he ordered to bring all the books to Cusco, and they all were burnt out on big fire. So unfortunately, we have some tracks of their history, but quite little. Ну и вот у них была письменность, у них были прекрасные книги. Ну и вот инквизитор де Ланда приказал принести все книги со всей империи, собрать в Куско под страхом смертной казни и сжег все на костре. И вот только 5 книг осталось в мире. Сейчас они, письменность расшифрована, книги эти читаются, но, понятно, это только обрывки их истории. Потому что у них не было традиции, скажем, рисовать что-то на фресках. У них фрески были, хотя не так много, но вот в основном было все это в книгах. So, now, it's part of the movie, and there are several movies I tell you about. So it's our first trip last year to Peru, when we were shown these mummies for the first time. And it was a group of people involved in this. This journalist, Jaime Maussan, this guy, very special guy, this French guy living in Peru. His name is Thierry, and he's his helper, and he is adventurer. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. So he's adventurer. So he came to Peru to look for lost cities. He didn't find it, but then he was involved in this story. Ну и вот это те люди, с которыми все это было связано. Хайме Маусан – это журналист из Мексики, которому все это попало. Значит, это вот человек, который живет сейчас в Перу, сам француз, искатель приключений, приехал сюда искать золото, и ну, это его помощник. Значит, это все было организовано компанией «Гая». Значит, это американская компания, которая представляет в интернете различные фильмы на интересные темы. И у них большой достаточно круг подписчиков, пользователей во всем мире. So it was all organized by Gaia company. And this is a company, they present different movies related to health, to yoga, to that type of life, a lot of interview, and they have a lot of big audience all over the world. So those mummies, they were found by local guide, local person in a village, and he found this in the mountain, in a cave, covered with this white dust totally, and then he started looking where to sell it. So after half a year of discussion with different people, he found this company and they agreed to pay some money to see, at least to see this. And this guy, he was organizer of this in Peru. Unfortunately, he's very untrustable person, and his interest only to get money, nothing else. So this is how it looks like, this mummy. And you see those long fingers. And of course, our first long toes. And you see very special construction of toes. And of course, first I was able to get samples. We did some measurements with two other medical doctors. And of course, the first question was, how real is it? Is it fake or real? Because you see, there was type of samples we were able to take. And they come from Nazca area. And Nazca area, it's a big, huge part of Peru. It's mostly desert and hills or mountains, little mountains. It's very well known, Nazca lines, very well known. And you can go there, you fly on a little plane around. It's very interesting, of course. But there are not only on Nazca plane. So named geoglyphs, you see these different images. Now it's found several other geoglyphs in other parts of Nazca area. You see like this, we've seen it. And they are not just so easily accessible. So it's absolutely clear that all theories that try to explain what it's all about, what it is for, they all fail. It doesn't work. And it was a lot of petroglyphs on the rocks, we've seen it as well. They really demonstrate some people with 3 fingers. And of course, the first question was radiocarbon dating. And after it was done in several laboratories of the United States, it was shown that this mummy, it is about 1,800, 1,600. So it's old mummy. So it was now no doubt that it is real, that it is done at least in ancient times. Even if it's fake, then it was ancient fake. And then we did X-ray and CT scan in Cusco. And it was clear from analysis that those fingers, it's real. Its construction of hands and toes is different from our anatomy. And of course, all this data was analyzed by anatomists, all this. And because I was given a task goal to organize scientific team around all this story. And coming to Russia, I was able to find support in top-level institutions of St. Petersburg. It is our St. Petersburg University, medical department, biological department, and then department of analytical study. Then, so it's big research department, research park, and they have all top-level equipment that we need for research, starting from DNA up to element analysis, so top level. So, and people was very interested to make this research, so we did this together with highly professional. Then, and it was Center of Chemical Analysis of Material Research, Center of DNA Study, and they have top-level equipment. Then Institute of Gynecology and Reproduction of Underwater. It's our leading institute for women, for supporting health of women and children. То есть, вернувшись в Россию, мне, так сказать, поручили организовать научную группу для исследования всех этих вещей, и мне удалось найти поддержку активную в нашем государственном университете Санкт-Петербурга. Там есть так называемый исследовательский парк, где стоит самая современная аппаратура. И там руководители этого всего направления, всех этих лабораторий, они согласились поучаствовать в этих исследованиях. И генетических, и аналитических исследованиях. Ну и вот все это было возглавлено Институт Отто, это наш ведущий институт по репродуктивному возрасту. Значит, там есть академик Баранов, один из ведущих сейчас генетиков России. So academician Baranov, who is top-level and leading genetist, one of the leading genetists of Russia. We knew each other for a long time. I came to him, and he was interested, and he made a group of scientists to make this study. Then we have a very interesting center, and the head of the center, he's my good friend. Many years ago, I was involved in organizing this center. And this guy, he's very interesting. He's a medical doctor. He was trained, first had a study in St. Petersburg in medical university as a medical doctor. Then he came to China and got medical education in China as Chinese doctor. Then he organized some centers, but finally he started establishing MRI machines all over the Russia. Now I have a network of several hundred MRI machines all over Russia. They all run from one and the same center. Now they have new, it's proton knife, it's absolutely amazing technology. So he's an excellent person. I came to him, and he agreed to take part in this research as well. Значит, еще вот у нас есть такой центр МИПС, и вот мне как-то даже его директор и руководитель — это мой хороший знакомый. Когда-то я поучаствовал в организации этого центра. И они сейчас устанавливают томографы по всей России уже много лет. Сейчас у них несколько сотен уже томографов по России, в сопредельных странах. Это все организовано как единая сеть. Это все очень здорово работает. И поэтому у нас сейчас сделать, там, скажем, томограмму мозга или чего-то другого, это занимает 2 часа. Позвонил, записался, на следующий день пришел, тебе тут же все сделали. И все вполне разумно и очень ценно. Так что это действительно большой, колоссальный прогресс благодаря, собственно, одному человеку, который все это продвинул. И когда я к нему обратился, он тоже согласился в этих исследованиях поучаствовать. So we did several types of analysis. Of course, we started from genetic analysis because the first question was whether it's real material or it's some fake. So the first question was whether it's possible to extract DNA from the samples. And it took several months to extract DNA because this sample was very contaminated. You understand, it's ancient sample, 2,000 years practically. And it's contaminated with everything, from ancient time, from modern time, because if you look around, you see we have DNA everywhere. We have flying DNA all over this place. We breathe, we emanate some skin, and that's why all our surrounding is filled with particles of DNA. And if you take any sample in here, it will be contaminated with DNA of everybody of us. That is why when we took samples from ancient mummies, it was contamination. And it was found that it is contamination from ancient time, from mummification process, and up to modern contamination. But it was found that it is human DNA. That was the first conclusion. And it was found that it is women's DNA. So it was confirmed that's why this mummy, she was given the name Maria. So it was the first important conclusion. And then, of course, next stage to make sequencing of this DNA. Значит, ну, это на первом этапе тоже было важно определить, насколько эти образцы реальны. Поэтому было очень важно провести ДНК-анализ. Значит, этот анализ очень сложный, он занял колоссальное время, потому что много месяцев, потому что образцы очень загрязнены. Они загрязнены современным ДНК, они загрязнены древними загрязнениями, препаратами, которые используются при мумификации. Но, в конце концов, было показано, что это ДНК человеческая, женская, что это биологический материал. So, the most important conclusion of this first stage was that it's biological tissue and it's human tissue. That was very important. Then, of course, it was done analysis of yes, so this is about DNA, first conclusions. And then this is analysis of CAT scans and skeleton. And again, very important, this analysis was done by top-level anatomists. First it was in this institute, then it was Dr. Galetsky from our medical university, who are top-level in anatomy of skull, of face, and of the body as well. He has tremendous experience. He's professor in our Medical University. И вот следующий этап, конечно, это был анализ уже структуры тела. Значит, этот анализ был сделан профессионалами из института, которые занимаются этим анализом каждый день. То есть у них каждый день проходят десятки снимков и томограмм. Представьте, что томограмма – это объемная структура. Это не снимок рентгеновский. Это гораздо более мощная информация. Вот. Ну и потом присоединился к нам профессор Галицкий из Первого медицинского университета, который является специалистом по челюстно-лицевой хирургии. Он сам хирург. Ну и он очень большой знаток тоже анатомии, потому что у него много было направлений в жизни. И it was shown that this anatomy of this body is very similar to human anatomy, very similar. So same construction of bones, same construction of internal organs, and it was found that it was clearly visible stomach, liver, lungs, heart. Heart is oriented not in like in our body. It's oriented this way. There they are oriented other way around. But it happens. It may happen with humans as well. So it wasn't so strange. Then something from the brain left in the skull, but it was, for example, no kidney and no passes. This urine pass, because we have kidneys somewhere in here, in this area. And that's why if there are stomach, then it should be kidney as well. It was no reproductive organs as well, but it's more clear they may be just removed. But why no kidney, that was very unclear. And no tracks of any passes. So maybe they didn't use urine, they produced it somehow other way, because there are animals that don't have urination, you know this. But they had, it comes directly into colon system. There are some animals, they have this system. They don't urinate, they produce it together with waste. Of course, it was very special attention to fingers and toes. Again, it was shown that it is not just defect, but it is different construction. Totally different construction, both of hands with 3 fingers and toes with 3 fingers. And it was a lot of details different on the skull. And this skull was elongated, so named elongated skull. I will tell you a little bit more about this. So it was clear that it is something different, because we have this defect as extradictalia when people have 3 fingers. But in this case, it is 2 fingers, they are coming together from childhood. And there are even families, they have this problem. But it is, if you look at this, it looks absolutely different from Maria. Then, very important, it was composition, elemental composition analysis, chemical analysis. Because in next trip, I was able to get sample directly from fingers and toes. You understand that the first question was, okay, body is body. No question, it's human-like. But it was objection. Okay, but fingers and toes, they are just attached somehow from, I don't know, from Strauss's or something else. So it's fake. Ну и вот, конечно, один из вопросов, который возник во время исследований, что хорошо, тело нормальное, но вот пальцы рук и ног, это может быть все-таки приделано как-то. Может, это откуда-то от страуса оторвали и приделали, или еще что-нибудь. Вот, поэтому во вторую поездку в Перу мне удалось взять образцы прямо уже из пальцев рук и пальцев ног. И вот результат анализа химических элементов. Если посмотрите, они достаточно близко соответствуют телу, пальцы рук и ног, они имеют примерно одинаковый композиционный состав, поэтому химики сделали вывод, что это все-таки принадлежит одному и тому же телу. Потому что у них есть большой опыт исследований химического состава тела. Естественно, по всему телу у нас немножко состав разный. То есть, если возьмете вот ваш образец там, из пальца руки, пальца ноги, то будет разный. Но примерно будет одинаково. Примерно. Что здесь мы и наблюдаем. So, after I was able to get samples from toes and fingers, and chemical analysis demonstrated that amount of elements is practically similar. And our chemists, they made conclusion that they belong to one and the same sample. So it means that toes and fingers, they are real, it's not fake. And the amount of elements, they are just depending on region, depending on position, depending on type of food. So it's, again, typical, nothing special in this. But what was interesting, that the surface of body was treated with the calcium drug, mostly calcium chloride, crystals of which was found in scanning electron microscopy. Ну и вот что было интересно обнаружено, такой оригинальный факт, что это тело было обработано хлоридом кадмия. Значит, дело в том, что кадмий – это естественный элемент природы, который существует в минералах, но он не существует в свободном виде, а тем более в виде хлорида кадмия в природе. Не существует. Получение хлорида кадмия – это сложная технологическая процедура, которую невозможно сделать на кухне, принципиально. Поэтому для цивилизации, которая была в те времена в районе Наска, получить хлорид кадмия было принципиально невозможно. Но при этом четко совершенно все тело было покрыто снаружи, и хлорид кадмия используется для предохранения от бактериального загрязнения. So this cadmium chloride, you know, it is a substance that doesn't exist in nature. Of course, cadmium exists in different minerals, but to extract cadmium chloride from minerals, it is a technological process that we can have in our chemistry, but it was absolutely unavailable to ancient people. And now we use this cadmium chloride to protect from mold, from bacterial contamination, so it was absolutely clear why they did it, but absolutely unclear how it was prepared. And you see it was, so it was done conclusion that body is biological fiber, not paper, not plastic, not wood, and so on. And in the process of extracting DNA, it was some liquid extracted, and it was found that this liquid is very special liquid. It had even smell. That this is type of essential oil. So it's clear that in the process of mummification, they've been using this liquid just to preserve these samples. Ну и вот в процессе ДНК-экстракции там была определенная жидкость. Значит, было показано, что эта жидкость, это, значит, масло, натуральное масло, которое, понятно, использовалось для муммификации. То есть это совершенно естественно. Значит, it shows that the spectrum of this liquid is practically the same as spectrum of essential oils, several essential oils. So it's absolutely, it's really proven. Those samples, they were covered in so-named diatomic earth. And they were covered in powder, totally covered in powder. That's why they were so well preserved in this cave. And this diatomic earth, again, it's some mineral that was organized millions of years ago through little algae. Because it was ancient. In ancient time it was ocean, and in ocean it was some algae, and they were living there. And so it's very well known again, but it's like a mineral. So to make from this mineral, to make a powder, again you need technological process, because it doesn't exist in nature like a powder. And we consulted with geologists, they've told, yes, it's very well known, but only like a mineral. To make a powder, you need some process. But you know that, again, in Nazca culture, it was no grinding process. It was unknown to them, they didn't use it. Ну и вот эти образцы были покрыты, закопаны в такой белый порошок. Оказалось, что это так называемая диатомовая земля. Это остатки древних ракушечек мелких. Миллион лет назад там было море, и вот они там остались. Известный очень материал на Земле, он много где существует, но он не существует в виде пудры. Поэтому, опять-таки, должен быть технологический процесс, чтобы это приготовить. Ну и вот так вот они были закопаны. This is a picture how it was initially, how they were covered with all this, how they will look like, you see. And so it was just, again, X-ray of this. So it's normal material, very well known. So it was. So, we had, of course, several questions. Are fingers and toes real? Do they belong to the body? And what would be the result of DNA sequencing? And I had second trip to Peru last July, 1 year ago, and it was two new type of mummies. One is human-like, another non-human. And human-like was so named Vavita. It was a child, a baby. Later on it was found that it's about 10 months old through the teeth construction. And it was human-like. And it was very similar to Maria. And this doctor, he did X-ray, he did MRI of all this. And it was found again, so this Vavita, it's same type of human-like, same construction of bones, skull, very human-like teeth, so it's possible to see. And element analysis demonstrated that Vavita body composition is very similar to Maria. So it seems to me it's clear. So you see infrared spectrum of samples, Maria fingers, Maria toes, Vavita, two samples. And all of them have same composition. So no doubts, very clear results. And same on element composition. And DNA sequencing took 9 months because it is ancient DNA. You know, would we take our own DNA? Then it will take maybe a couple of weeks, and in a couple of weeks it will be total genome. That will show, okay, you belong 30% to European population, 20% to African population, 20% to Mongolian, 20% to Malaysian, so it's possible to define your origin. And for anybody of us, it's easy to make. Now it's not very expensive even. For ancient DNA, this is impossible. Because, you see, first of all, scientists have very little amount of substance to extract DNA. And second, it is like, I can give you an analogy. Let's imagine our genome like a book with 10,000 pages. And our book can be, we have all page, we can read this book. For ancient tissues, it is just different pages. But not the whole page, but little piece of this page, little bit of this page, and that's it. So after sequencing, when they extract DNA and define all genes, which is possible, they first of all have to distinguish between modern DNA, because it's always contamination, DNA of some animals, and ancient human DNA. It was found, for example, that there are a lot of DNA of alpaca. And it's clear because in the process of mummification, they've been using alpaca oil to mummification. Then, of course, a lot of modern DNA. But this is possible to extract in a mathematical way. So I would say chemists, they make this library of pieces. And then it all comes to a program center, very powerful machines, not like this, but really big shelves, computers. And those computers run for days and days, for several weeks sometimes, to correlate, to find, for example, you have a piece of text, and you need to find in which modern literature you can find this text, like this, you can imagine. So it's really, and so they compare these little pieces of genes with all possible genes of humankind, and see whether there is some correlations or not. Значит, ну и вот в процессе секвенирования там тоже много очень этапов, очень сложно, потому что если мы делаем наши с вами гены, то можем получить полный геном и определить наших предков. Там 20% европейцев, 30% там, скажем, азиатов и так далее. Значит, когда мы получаем древние ДНК, то мы имеем обрывки, мы не имеем целых цепочек. И там принципиально невозможно, потому что и один из моментов, как разделяют древние и современные ДНК, это по размеру цепочек. То есть древняя ДНК должна быть короткой. И только вот короткие ДНК, плюс, значит, потом надо ее отличить человеческой от нечеловеческой. Там была найдена ДНК древней альпаки, ну, понятно, что используется при мумифицировании. А потом вот эти вот кусочки генов, так называемая генная библиотека, идет уже программистам. И программисты, используя очень мощный целый комплекс специализированных программ, которые были созданы последние 20 лет, они ищут корреляции между данным геном, набором, даже не геном, это набор, собственно, аминокислот, и всем возможным человечеством. So programmers, they are looking for correlation between particular pieces of amino acids, combination of amino acids, you understand this, these 4 amino acids, and all possible humankind. So after this, it was found so-named population analysis. It means that we have now international library of 1,000 cases of most typical DNA of humankind. And you see it is Asians, Africans, Puerto Ricans, Europeans, then some Arabics, so it's all population of the world. Now we have it. It's very well researched and very well known. И вот дальше идет так называемый популяционный анализ, который сопоставляет данные ДНК с ДНК всего человечества. Ну и вот здесь известно, так сказать, вот. Причем это один из срезов примерно 120-мерного пространства. То есть очень много параметров, и это только, так сказать, такая картинка, на самом деле это математическая такая модель строится. And of course this is one of the slides of 122 parameters. So it's mathematical model, it's just demonstration. And you see, both Maria and Vavita, they don't belong to humankind. So their DNA is human-like, but it doesn't belong to any known to us DNA. So it was the main conclusion of this analysis. Unfortunately, it was not enough samples to make the full genome, because for this scientists need maybe about 20 grams of tissues or even more, depending on purification. So we were able to make only exome analysis. So it's only part, but still it was some conclusion like this. And in second trip, it was found another type of creatures, little ones like this. And it was one, and we were able to extract some samples from the neck, no head. Then you see like this. And those 2 little ones. And you see they look absolutely different. They don't look like humans. This is biological material as well. So it was X-ray, it was DNA analysis, some DNA analysis. And inside of this structure, they have something inside, some materials, maybe eggs, maybe something else. They are a little, 60 centimeters size only, and they construct their age. It was funny that it was done 2 carbon dating analysis, and in one it was 6,000, in another 3,000. But it's again understandable. Carbon analysis of ancient samples is very unreliable in reality, very unreliable. So, but it's clear that it's not 50,000, it's not 30,000, but around 6,000. Значит, ну и вот вы видите эти маленькие существа, значит, тоже у них удалось взять некие образцы. Значит, радиоуглеродный анализ показал 2 раза сделанные на них тех же образцах от 3000 до 6000. Ну, это объясняется, есть объяснение, почему это, но самое важное, что это не 30 тысяч и не 40 тысяч, а где-то там 3-6 тысяч лет. Ну, понятно, древние образцы, сделанные, полученные в древности как-то. It was done DNA analysis, and it was demonstrated again that it is human-like tissues. They are Y chromosomes, so they are males, but the amount of samples was not enough to make sequencing. So they were trying, but they failed. Ну и вот был сделан DNA, тоже анализ ДНК, который показал, что это человеческие ткани, биологические ткани, как бы соответствуют человеку, соответствуют мужскому полу, но было недостаточное количество образцов для того, чтобы сделать уже... Митя, включи, пожалуйста, этот кондишн, вот там, да, он был выключен. Там надо сверху кнопочку нажать, просто он. И потом... Спасибо. So we had some DNA data, but not real data. And always, of course, the most important and interesting was analysis of MRI. because it was demonstrated that they have absolutely different construction from human. So no similarity to human beings. Different construction of bones, you see, different type of bones, different construction of ribs. They have round ribs, that different construction of skull. And it was some objections from some scientists that, oh, it is all constructed from different part of animals. But this type of animals doesn't exist on Earth. No animals with this type of ribs. No animals. No animals with this construction of skull, because it's not just a picture, it is anatomical analysis. And they know how they look, different animals. So no resemblance to any animal on the Earth. Of course, different construction of joints. They don't have joints as we do. They have 3 fingers, 3 toes as well. So it was a lot of discussion whether it's possible to live with this, but finally it was decided that it's possible. Of course, very limited movement, but it's possible to move. And it's interesting, no teeth, no jaw. So just a hole. So maybe they were sucking blood or something like this. Maybe. And as you see, no internal organs, only some strange constructions inside. So this is a total enigma. It was some data that there are some 3 fingers was found before, and it was some museums. But it's clear that even if it was some 3-fingered hands and toes somewhere in excavations, nobody would pay attention to this, because it was thousands and thousands of skeletons found in Peru, thousands, and of course skeleton and skeleton. No one paid attention to this. So it was possible that it was like this before, but no doubts. But we, with Professor Galetsky, we came to Cusco just last month and to Lima, and you see it was found some very interesting subjects in museum. And it's clear that in other museums we can find a lot of them. And all their art is very precise, very precise. So if they make picture, they make ceramics, it is ceramic of a real person. They have some, of course, fantastic creatures, but very little. Most it is just portraits. Ну и вот, видите, вот мы нашли вот такую статуэтку в музее Лимы. Ну и понятно, что в других музеях можно найти еще 1000 таких же. И вот, смотрите, здесь тоже 3 пальца, видите, какие странные существа, странные глаза у них. И это очень не характерно, потому что вообще перуанское искусство очень точно. Они делают портретное сходство. И все их сосуды – это портретное сходство. Ну уж если 5 пальцев, они показывают 5 пальцев. Так что это у них четко совершенно. Plus a lot of tapestry of this type. And again, it comes from Nazca area, all this tapestry. And this is a lot maybe found in different museums. It's my own pictures. I did this picture in museums, in Lima Museum and in Cusco Museum. Ну и вот много очень таких ковров, которые там были, в музеях можно найти. То есть это тоже очень, так сказать. Лёшечка, попроси водичку, чтобы принесли ребята. Там, у Мити возьми там. So it is clear that for them it was just natural to have this type of creatures. You see, it's very, very typical pictures. A lot of them. And of course, if we want to make some, I would say, ideas about all this, we need to understand that we have at least 400,000 years of Homo sapiens existence, and about 10,000 years of our civilization. So it is clear that we have civilizations that we know, but it was only the last part of this. And one of the topics that, again, enigmatic topic, it's all named elongated skulls. It's a book about this topic. Спасибо. Because these skulls are very well known in archaeology. It was found a lot of elongated skulls in this area of Nazca. And they are presented in museums. You see, like this, like this, like this. A lot of them, they holes. It's another story. It was typical again to make this type of holes in skulls like this. It was very typical in those cultures. And a lot of elongated skulls, they don't have this cigular line. Ну и вот, значит, таких вот вытянутых черепов очень много в музеях Перу. И они просто вот представлены там. И они имеют такие отверстия. Причем показано, что эти отверстия были сделаны при жизни, операционные. Зачем, непонятно. Их много тоже очень. Многие из них не имеют вот этого шва, который у нас, естественно, возникает. То есть это такая загадка. And these elongated skulls, they are known in different cultures. In Egyptian culture, you can find this picture in Berlin Museum of History. This one as well, from Egypt. It was found 2,000 years old skeleton of baby in Crimea just recently, last year. You see again elongated skull. Значит, ну вот это вот, я говорю, что есть во многих культурах, во многих странах были найдены такие черепа, ну, очень известны в Египте они, это вот в Крыму у нас найдено в прошлом году в раскопках, тоже, видите, вот 2000 лет доказано, значит, ну, младенчик, понятно, что никто его не вытягивал. Значит, в Китае все китайские мудрецы, они изображаются вот с таким черепом. Вытянутым черепом. In China, all Chinese wise people, ancient wise people, they are presented like this, all of them. It's very, very typical. It's very interesting data from Stonehenge. Recently it was allowed to make excavation in Stonehenge, and it was shown, demonstrated that Stonehenge is a ritual place where people was coming from all over the Britain, bringing some gifts, bringing some animals for celebration, for sacrifice, and it was for thousands of years. Ну и вот очень интересные были данные раскопок в Англии, на Стоунхендже, известное вам место. Там было показано, что это ритуальное место, куда в течение 1000 лет приходили люди со всей Британии, привозя скот для ритуальных церемоний, и там были сделаны раскопки. And it was curator of archaeology at the British Museum, Maria Whitley, who published a book, The Elongated Skulls of Stonehenge. So it's, again, top-level archaeologist of Britain. Ну и вот была опубликована книга, значит, этой дамы, которая является куратором археологии в Британском музее, то есть понятно, что ученый высочайшего класса, и где было показано, что в одном из слоев вот этих раскопок был найден слой, где много угля, то есть там были большие пожары, и огромное количество вот этих вот вытянутых черепов, и все люди были убиты зверски. Ну, плюс там обычные люди тоже убиты, но вот этих черепов очень много раскидано там. So she demonstrated that it was some layer in excavation where it was a lot of coal, so it was fire, and it was big battle between people with elongated skulls and normal people. And all the people with elongated skulls, they were brutally murdered. It was again shown. So it is published in this book. Later on, just recently, it was published another paper with population genomic analysis of elongated skulls revealed extensive females-based immigration in early medieval Bavaria. Значит, эта вот статья была опубликована, как видите, только в марте этого года, где был найдены тоже такие вытянутые черепа в Баварии. И они проследили, что это были только женщины, только женские черепа, что эти женщины все происходят из совсем другой части Европы. То есть там были найдены вот эти генетические соответствия. Вот, то есть почему-то вот группу женщин привезли в Баварию вот с такими вытянутыми черепами, ну и они, видно, там зачем-то были нужны. Это тоже как бы показано. Вот, то есть это вот где Бавария и откуда их взяли. Видите, вот четко совершенно разница. To my mind, it's all related to enigmas of lost civilizations. Ну и вот, мне кажется, это все соотносится к загадкам древних цивилизаций. And here I want to present you our latest data on biowell measurements in Peru. Ну и вот сейчас я уже хочу к этому может какое-то иметь отношение. Те данные, которые были у нас получены с измерениями в прошлом месяце в Куско, где мы с профессором Галицким поехали в надежде набрать еще образцов для генетических исследований. Из этого ничего не получилось, но мы несколько дней проводили исследования на древних объектах Перу. So you see, this is Cusco, and nearby Cusco, this is Sacsayhuaman, Cuenco, then Pucapucara, and Tambo-Mucay. It's all just nearby. This difference is about 7 kilometers only. So it's all around Cusco. And as I mentioned, Cusco was the capital of Inca Empire, but now it is, I will show you that it was much more ancient than Inca. Значит, ну и вот мы проводили измерения на этих объектах. And first, of course, was Sacsayhuaman. It is the most known together with Machu Picchu. It is fantastic wall, several walls, you see, with huge stones. And this is really huge. And I pay attention that those stones, they attach to each other in a very complicated way. So they are huge, but the most interesting is the way how they attach to each other. So it's clear that ancient builders, they didn't care to make it rectangular, like in other countries, like in other civilizations. They just took some huge bolt, and then somehow they attach another one. And it's impossible to put razor in between those stones. And they survive all earthquakes, all possible stations. And you see, more recent, it's very simple. Very simple. Ну и вот эти камни, из которых все это сделано, древние эти постройки, они совершенно произвольной формы. Они вставлены друг в друга по объемной поверхности, совершенно каким-то произвольным путем. Весят они там по 40-50 тонн, некоторые из них. И древние строители, они совершенно не беспокоились о том, чтобы сделать это прямоугольными кирпичиками. Для них было очень просто все это делать как-то. И между этими камнями невозможно засунуть лезвие бритвы. И вот это все существует в течение тысяч лет уже. Там периодически очень мощные землетрясения, но это все стоит и никуда не девается. You see, this is very interesting construction. Plus all these stones, they are not polished, but they have some convecal form. Ну и потом вот эти камни, они не полированные, они имеют такую немножко выпуклую форму. Все эти камни, то есть тоже как-то очень своеобразно. And we found, not we of course, but it is very well known, some pieces where they were cut off. And again, to cut this piece, for our technology, we need to drill holes, then to cut it out. It's clear that they've been using absolutely different technology because they are not, it's impossible to find the tracks of this drilling, and it was just some technology, they just cut it like from butter and took off. And it's a lot of stuff like this. You see. Ну и вот тоже очень, там есть места, откуда добывались эти камни, и понятно, что эти камни вырезались совершенно запросто из массива. И для нашей технологии это невозможно, потому что мы можем просверлить дырок, можем отполировать потом, но так, чтобы вырезать, как из масла, вот этот кусок, такое у нас невозможно. А для них, вот мы как раз ходили, там очень много смотрели, это было просто так, им надо какой-то кусок, вот они там ищут подходящий кусок камня и из него просто вырезают. Совершенно запросто так. And I did a lot of Sputnik measurements for 3 days. Over there. Ну и вот я проводил много измерений с прибором «Спутник» в течение 3 дней там. Мы ездили несколько раз туда. And Sputnik was calibrated in the morning in the hotel in Cusco. And it was by well too, so it was very easy to calibrate it. And to get data, you need 10 minutes on every spot. Because in 10 minutes you can get a number and you can get parameter of activity of the environment as well. So, and you see, we were mostly, of course, we did it on Sacsayhuaman. This is this wall, you see. And this wall, it comes like very strange construction. You see, it's not like wall, like we are used to, but it's like a chain. So this is first level of this wall, then there's second level, then there are ceremonial places in here, and then there are the big stone construction where they were cutted these pieces from. Ну и вот это вот саксоуман, вы видите, вот эта стена, которую я показывал уже на картинках, она не прямая, как мы привыкли с вами, она вот такая зубчатая почему-то. То есть как зубья пилы, вся стена вот эта. Значит, она достаточно длинная, тут порядка около километра. Следующий, второй уровень. Сверху церемониальные площадки, там были какие-то сооружения, там были какие-то здания, совершенно очевидно. Какие-то круг тут был такой вот сделан, каменный. Вот это вот то место, откуда они добывали материал, ну не только отсюда, но и отсюда тоже, там вот эти все вырезы. Ну а вот это просто гора через дорогу. Вот идет дорога автомобильная. Значит, все эти объекты в Перу, они очень тщательно охраняются. То есть туда можно прийти только в определенное время, за деньги, естественно. То есть там постоянно ходят охранники. То есть когда, скажем, мы пытались прийти с телевизионной группой, то съемки были запрещены. Они пришли и категорически запретили любые съемки. То есть измерение тоже проводить там было достаточно своеобразно. And you know that all this area, as all archaeological subjects in Peru, they are very well guarded, very well. So you need to go there only in some time, from 9 till 5, then it's closed. And there are a lot of guards coming around, so they watch that people wouldn't make any damage, they wouldn't litter. And for example, when we were trying to make some video, professional video, it was totally forbidden, professional video. You can make with your own phone or with your own camera, but not professionally. So you see, I did a lot of measurements all over this territory. And it was because we had idea with Professor Galitsky that there are something that we can find. And it was really so. You see, this area somewhere has high numbers. So first number, it is the number of place where we did measurement, and place, time, and so on, so it's all in data. And second number, big number, for digits, it is the amount of energy averaged on the measurement. And you see, in this area, all measurements, they are quite high. Of course, it's just preliminary data. Then we have second round, where it is much less. Of course, it would be very interesting to make more precise measurement, like on the net. But unfortunately, we didn't have time because it was only one subject, ancient place, but we had another ancient place as well. But still, it is clear that it was a place of high energy. Of course, every day I was doing measurement in the hotel in Cusco. And you've seen that it's only a couple of kilometers distance, practically same altitude. And here you see numbers from 6,000 to 8,000, 9,000 even. In hotel, it was about 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. So it was much less. So it's clear, it's a big difference between Cusco and these places. Then next place was so-named Cuenca. Again, it's a very ancient place, and there are some ancient blocks laying there. Then I did measurements here, and inside this Cuenca, it is like a cave. In this cave, again, it is some cutted stones and cutted niche stones. So again, it's clear that it was done with some technology. It's not just natural cave. And I was able to make this measurement inside of this cave, and then outside. They have some big stone staying here, so outside as well. Plus, nearby this same Cuenca, just a couple of 100 meters away, there are place where they cut it against stones from. So you see, this is this Cuenca. So I did measurement here, in this place, then nearby is a big stone, and then outside. And you see, again, it's big difference. Here, inside, it was very big numbers, and here, much less numbers. And it's statistical measurement, so it's done in several days, not in one day even. So it's absolutely clear. Again, it was this place, ceremonial place, was a place of power, place of geoactive zone. And what's interesting, in Sacsayhuaman, in Cusco, energy was very calm, very, very calm. So it means if you take measurement in 10 minutes, you can define this parameter, the activity of space, and numbers was about 30. In Cuenca, in different places, it was very strong numbers. You see 80, 130, 90, and the difference follows. This is calm energy, like about 30. This is about 100. You see the difference in graphs. And it means the difference of energy. So again, it is clear confirmation that this place was a place of geoactive zone, the place of power. And it was different construction of stones as well. Still, at some place, they had this type of complicated stones, but the size of stones was much less. If in Sacsayhuaman it was stones of the size of tons, hundreds of tens of tons, here it was little stones, but still they attached to each other like this at several walls. In other walls, they were even less. And here you see it's no attachment at all. They just constructed each other without any clay, but here you can put knife inside easily. But here it's impossible razor. And и вот в Cuenca там было четко видно деградация технологии. То есть там тоже вот такая есть стена, сложенная из таких полигональных блоков, но они гораздо меньшего размера. И тоже действительно здесь невозможно просунуть бритву, но размер уже такой, что можно в руках перенести спокойно совершенно. Ну и вот рядом тут же следующая стена, которая сложена из похожих кусков, но уже там можно нож засунуть, то есть это, понятно, уже полная деградация. So we see degradation of technology. It was ancient technology of some ancient civilization that was able to make this stone like a plastic. We've been discussing a lot with geologists, and still it's the process of analysis because we collected samples of stones. So impression that they put one stone, then they were able to melt some material. We know that now we have artificial stones that was created from melted material, and something of this kind. And then it's understandable how it was done. If you put this, then you just melt this material and just form it in any form. But of course, it's no confirmation, it's only ideas. And it's clear that the technology deteriorated step by step. In Sacsayhuaman, it was huge blocks. Later on, it was much less blocks. And then the technology was totally lost. Totally lost. Ну и вот мы видим деградацию вот этой технологии. То есть в Sacsayhuaman она была действительно огромной технологией. Потом они потеряли уже какие-то навыки, могли делать только небольшие камни, но потом вообще все это было забыто. Ну и вот одно из предположений, в том числе со стороны геологов, что они умели размягчать камни или делать искусственные камни, как мы сейчас делаем, на основе цемента какого-то, с каменной крошкой, может быть, с каменным замесом, и потом делать вот как бы... Не удалось найти никаких результатов рентгеноструктурного анализа, потому что если сделать рентгеноструктурный анализ вот этого материала, будет ясно. Но с другой стороны, а где взять этот материал, правда? Потому что понятно, что никто не разрешит просто так вырезать кусок из этого камня. То есть это понятно, то есть это надо очень специальные разрешения, очень специально организовывать работу. So, of course, would it be made X-ray analysis of this stone? It would be possible to define exactly whether it is artificial material or real, natural material. But I haven't seen this type of analysis. I have very big books on scientific study in Peru, but no this type of analysis. And I'm afraid maybe it's not allowed to take samples from the stones. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, but it's clear that it was ancient technology, very high level, and then it slowly deteriorated, and then it was totally lost. Then we came to another place, Pucapucara, and this they consider it as like a fortress. But in reality, of course, it's not a fortress. Look around. You see big hills. Nobody would ever build a fortress in the valley. It's total nonsense from military point of view. Same as Saxo-Man, again, it's not a fortress because there are hills around. So, of course, it may be some settlement, and again, they thought, oh, it was roads coming around. But again, total nonsense. They didn't have wheels. They did not need roads. It was possible to come around in here, there, anywhere. And so it is clear that, again, it was some ceremonial center for some spiritual topics. And it looks really like this because they have big square, another square where it's possible to make ceremonies. And we did measurements because, again, they have much more primitive, of course, but they have this type of stones, cutted stones. And we did it in 2 places here and 1 place on the other side of the hill. And if you look to numbers, you see very high numbers, very high activity of space. So again, it is clear that it's a place of power, geoactive zone. And ancient people was able to detect this geoactive zone, and they created their ceremonial place on this geoactive zone. Then next was Tambo Machai. Again, you see this ancient type of stones and natural stones. And there are water source, some spring, natural spring, with very clear water, very pure water. It comes here. And it was known in Inca times, like some very good healing water, but it's clear that it comes from ancient times. There I was able to take measurements at several places. And again, they have very primitive. So it's clear that in Inca time, they've seen these ancient stones, the ancient walls. They were trying to copy it, but they didn't have technology. It's absolutely clear. And I did measurement in 3 places. You see, nearby this waterfall or water stream, then up on the hill, and just nearby. And you see, again, numbers are quite high, and activity of environment is very high. So again, it is one more confirmation, it's place of power. Because we did thousands of measurements of this type in different parts of the world, and when we have this type of high numbers, it is clear that those high numbers, they indicate this place of power. So it's one more indication, ancient civilization, and I believe that it's not only Incas, it was all ancient civilizations. They were able to detect places of power and to build their sacral moments in these places. Ну и вот вы видите, что измерения показали тоже высокие очень значения энергии в этих местах. И это говорит о том, что действительно это было место силы. То есть это вот та идея, которую мы проводим, что древние объекты создавались на местах силы. И у нас уже тысячи измерений по всему миру, которые показывают, что да, действительно приходим на древний объект, и мы видим вот это вот высокие значения энергии. То есть древние люди могли вот это определить и могли это использовать для своих сооружений. And it seems to me this is very interesting topic for study, for our study with Sputnik instrument, because this way we can study any subjects, any areas. Of course, if we need to make it carefully, we need to make it on a net. So we need to go to some place, we need to put net on the territory. Yeah, she feels the energy. Yeah, place of power. Yeah. So, and every measurement takes 10 minutes. So in a day, in principle, you can make 30, 40 measurements easily in one and the same subject. And of course, if you put coordinates, if you correlate it with Google Map, then it would be very interesting to make a contour of ancient territories and to see distribution of energy on those territories. Of course, it depends on moon condition, as was shown yesterday by Vadim. It depends maybe on sun conditions, so we need to be careful. We need to write down all parameters, temperature, humidity, altitude. But it would be very interesting to create this map of the Earth with these ancient measurements of ancient subjects, and to prove that was real places of power, to prove it. Ну и вот, мне кажется, это интересная задача для нас, тех, кто владеет прибором BioWell, спутником, потому что можно прийти на какой-то древний объект и провести сетку измерений. Значит, каждое измерение занимает 10 минут, то есть в день можно сделать 30-40 измерений легко в течение дня. И потом, ну или в течение нескольких дней это можно делать, и потом получится как бы такая сетка, которая покажет места силы. И то, что вот существует как некие легенды, что вот есть место силы, есть место то, место сё, оно действительно будет доказано. При этом очень важно, что мы определяем сразу несколько параметров, значит, и как бы уровень энергии, уровень сигнала и уровень стандартное отклонения, то есть активной среды. И эти параметры комплексно нам описывают это место. And very important that with Sputnik we can define several parameters. We can define the level of energy, we can define the level of activity of an environment, and it gives us the overall information about this place. And you know that all measurements may be done offline. You don't need internet connection when you do this. And modern computers can run several hours, and it's easy to get external battery for the computer. It's easy, no problem. So in our experiments, we do experiments in the field for several days without connecting to electricity. So that's quite possible. It's not a big deal now. And you know that BioWell takes very little energy. That's why with BioWell, the only thing you need to diminish the brightness of the screen, because it takes the most energy. Ну и когда мы делаем эти измерения, мы делаем их офлайн. Значит, можно много часов, плюс дополнительные батареи. Ну, единственное, что требуется понижать яркость экрана, потому что это, в основном энергия идет на это. So this I will show you another example later on. But I want to tell you that, of course, we know some other places of this kind. This is in Turkey, and it was latest excavation of Hittite Empire. And it was proven that it existed more than 2,000 years before Christ, so 4,000 years ago, and they have very similar type of stones. Значит, это вот из последних находок в Турции, там последние как раз вот недавно начали эти раскопки, это Хеттская империя, 4000 лет назад, и вот тоже у них подобная конструкция камней. Absolutely enigmatic moments in Bolivia, Pumapunku, you see these blocks. It's understandable, it's clear that it's technological blocks, but of course we don't know how old are they and what they were for. Ну и вот это в Боливии такие блоки. Понятно, что это технологические блоки, но кто их зачем сделал, когда непонятно. And very interesting holes. Again, you see, to make these holes, you need special technology. It's not easy. Even with modern technology, it would be very complicated to make these holes. But they did it easily. Ну и вот там же вот такие отверстия, которые даже для современной технологии непростые, а они вот легко их делали. A very interesting archaeological place is Göbekli Tepe in Turkey as well. It was just maybe less than 10 years. Again, it is a lot of enigmatic moments in these excavations that shows it was very interesting technology. One of the enigmatic topics in the world, for me, it is islands in Pacific, little islands, and it is big constructions on little island. You see, it's absolutely clear. It is type of city or harbor, we don't know. And this city, this harbor is built from big, huge stones, and most of it is underwater. It was underwater excavations done, and it comes deep underwater. So it was clear that it was constructed when the level of water was much lower, and it was a city, very ancient city. And you look to type of blocks, they are very unusual, very special blocks. And no skeletons, no artifacts, nothing. Nothing was found in this place. only this type of construction. And of course it's clear that it was not done by locals, because it's quite primitive tribes living there, and they don't have this type of material over there at this island. So it was from somewhere else. This is the same. And then we should tell about different tunnels, different underground chambers. We have this in Malta, these underground chambers, cut in stone. Then just recently, several years ago, it was found big tunnels under Teotihuacan pyramid. And these archaeologists who are doing the excavations, all those tunnels was totally covered with earth. They were totally closed. They were unearthed only by geophysical measurements. So they did geophysical measurement nearby pyramids, and they found these tunnels underground. And it was found these big tunnels, then big chamber in here. Now they excavated from about to here, and they put little robots. Those robots, they were drilling this earth, and they were coming inside, and they found that inside this chamber, it's totally filled with earth up to the top, and there are a lot of artifacts, gold artifacts, different subjects. So now Mexican archaeologists, they do very careful study, and now they found tens of thousands of different artifacts from here, from those tunnels. And that's what is found now. In Turkey, it is very well known ancient underground city. You see, it is a big city. It's not just one cave. It is big city. It was very well organized. It was water supply to the city. They had some type of lightning coming to this city, most of the city. So it was light coming in daytime. So most of this was illuminated. And you see how, so why is it so? Why would people make these caves deep, deep underground? So it's absolutely, it's not storage, it's not for something, it's not like tombs, like in Rome. It is some construction was specially done for something, someone. We don't know why and for. And of course, one more topic, what's interesting, is so named forbidden collections. There are several collections found in South America, like Ica stones. It was one doctor, professor, who was collecting stones with inscriptions. And on those inscriptions, it is shown surgical operations, skull trepanations, and we know that it was real because we have these skulls with trepanation. It's very, very typical. Then some astronomers who was looking to sky, and of course some strange creatures like some dinosaurs or something of this kind. So archaeologists, they denied all these collections because of the dinosaurs. They claimed that it's all fake, but there are tens of thousands of these stones. Plus it was proven in several archaeological excavations done by professionals when they were able to find the stones in tombs. So it's clear that it was, of course, maybe some of them, they are fake, maybe, no doubts. Because the type of inscriptions, they are different. Some of them are very well done, very precise, some of them are very rude. So we understand that it was maybe a lot of fake, but still a lot of them are real. Then this type of ceramics, I've seen in the United States in one private collection, because you know that there are a lot of private collections of artifacts worldwide. And I was invited by one person and he demonstrated me his private collection. And you see, very interesting. And you see, this is different inscriptions on this. Then some type of letters here. Very interesting construction of eyes. Very interesting inscriptions as well. And he told that again it was found in excavations. But then government of Mexico and Peru, they were presented, but they told no study, not on exhibition, and it was hidden somewhere in storage. Of course, some of this came to private collections, as I've seen, but most of them, of course, it's hidden. And you see, it's clear that it's some text here, absolutely clear, no doubts. And you understand it's not fake because what for? And now we know 3 types of Homo sapiens. We know Neanderthals, Denisovans, and Homo sapiens sapiens. Сейчас в нашей науке известны 3 типа человеческих существ. Это неандертальцы, денисовцы и Homo sapiens. И как бы вот в соответствии с современными генетическими данными разделение произошло порядка 2 миллионов лет назад. И потом, значит, вот пошли линии, значит, туда и сюда. При этом сейчас Владимир Ильич потом, давай лучше, или потом комментарий расскажешь, да? So it was demonstrated that this division was about 2 million years ago, and it was shown that we have Europeans. We have a lot of genes from Neanderthals. We have a big pack of genes from Neanderthals. People living in Malaysia, in Oceania, they have some genes from Denisovs. But they, of course, they were gone. Neanderthals, they was inhabited all over the Europe for much longer than we do, for several 100,000 years. But then they were somehow, they believe that they were eaten by human beings, by sapiens, much more clever. But still, we understand and we believe that this is the way how it was all organized. And you see, it was, of course, in different part of modern humans was living in practically all over the world. Then Neanderthals was living in part of Europe, and Denisovans, they were living in Siberia mostly. But still their genes was distributed between modern people as well. And one of the topics that I pay attention, it is change of temperature. Yesterday, Vadim demonstrated this type of graph related to sun activity. This is graph, same type of graph related to ice age, the temperature of on the Earth. And you see it is thousands of years, but of course it may be prolonged for millions of years. It was always coming up and down, up and down. It is related to 2 main topics. First of all, it is amount of CO2 in oxygen. And second, it is tilting of Earth, because Earth's axis is not precise. It is just normal physical tilting. It's totally in accordance with the law of physics, like any round ball. Ну и вот этот график показывает как раз изменение температуры на Земле, чего можно продлить намного дальше, вглубь времен. Значит, он очень похож на тот график, который вчера Вадим Сеидов демонстрировал по солнечной активности. И действительно вот эта вот ситуация с нашими оледенениями связана с несколькими факторами. Ну, первое, в какой-то мере с солнечной активностью, хотя там не настолько сильные колебания. Но самое главное – это содержание углекислого газа в атмосфере. И второй фактор – это прецессия земной оси. То есть земная ось прецессирует все время туда-сюда. И вот эти прецессии, они занимают там, от минимальные где-то 11 лет, максимальные, значит, потом следующие 100 лет, следующие там где-то несколько сотен лет. И вот мы это и видим. Как раз Земля немножко поворачивается, начинается оледенение, потом это начинается кумулятивный процесс, и это оледенение захватывает большую часть территории. Значит, было как минимум одна ситуация на Земле, когда вся Земля была покрыта ледниками. Это известно тоже из геологии сейчас. Вот. Но в основном это все частичное. So, and you understand, when these little precessions coming, then the ice is forming, water is coming down, and then it's self-supporting process, and then ice is coming more and more. And when we think about ice age, we think about picture like this. Ну и когда мы представляем себя вот ледниковый период, мы представляем нечто вот такое. Вот все покрыто снегом и льдом, бродят мамонты, которые кушают непонятно что, там куча каких-то животных, которые опять-таки непонятно что кушают, потому что все покрыто снегом и льдом. То ли они копают своими бивнями, но, по-моему, очень неудобно будет таким бивнем копать что-то. Вот, то есть вот эта картинка, на самом деле, она абсолютно неправильна. Это полная профанация. То есть это, вернее, ну, это очень древняя старая картинка из старых учебников, которая абсолютно неправильна. So, when we think about Ice Age, and the last Ice Age, it was over about 12,000 years ago only, and it lasted 110,000 years, we think about something of this. So it was big mammoths, big animals coming in total ice desert, snow, desert, ice. But the question is, okay, what did they eat? If it is only ice and snow, how they were able to feed their huge body? And it's very unlikely they were taking food from under the snow. It's very unlikely for this huge animal. So it is clear that this is a totally wrong picture, totally wrong. And it is taken from old textbooks. Now we understand very well. Yes, it was big ice sheet. And this sheet, it covered big part of Europe and north part of course, Siberia, of course. And on south side, it was same condition. But in other areas, it was the most beneficial time for nature. Why? Because, first of all, it was a lot of water. You know that water is always coming from the mountains, from glaciers, and then it creates the most beneficial condition for vegetation. So you need water, you need some light, some sun, and it grows everything. So it is proven now that all the areas of Europe not covered with ice was the most beneficial for life. It was huge plains, it was millions of animals feeding there. So it was really the most prosperous, and of course human beings were there as well. Ну и вот на самом деле картинка была совсем другая. То есть действительно север был покрыт ледниками, ну и весь север Европы, сказать, Сибири тоже. Но дальше-то начинались пространства, наиболее благоприятные для жизни. Потому что для жизни нужна вода и нужен свет. Ну и более-менее еще было тепло. И вот это было в более чем достатке. Сейчас, когда едешь на Алтай, там ты видишь, вот стоит ледник, вот он вот так вот стеной обрывается, а тут же от него начинаются поля, просто цветы, деревья, рощи, то есть вот буквально никакого промежутка нету. When we go to Altai Mountains, you see it is glacier, and then immediately after the glacier, in summertime, it is grass, flowers, trees, so it's beautiful nature. Поэтому большая часть территории Европы, ну и Евразии вообще, это была наиболее благодатная область для жизни, где были миллионы животных, поэтому понятно, что древние люди, они на этом всем жили, и это было совершенно замечательно для жизни. And if you look to the map, you see this is ancient glacier, the last glacier, and this is all other area. And you see, of course, we understand it, and you understand if it is this area, then it was no deserts at all by that time. So in Africa, in Spain, it was again prosperous areas. Ну и вот там в связи с перераспределением воздушных потоков воды было тоже понятно, что не было практически пустынь, как сейчас. То есть все зоны в Африке, Северной Африке и в Испании, скажем, современной, они были покрыты травой, лесами, то есть это была благодатная почва. We know that by that time ocean level was lower by 133 meters. Ну и вот в те времена, как раз, о которых я только что отмечаю, это уровень океана был ниже на 133 метра. Это доказано сейчас. Ну и, естественно, очень много разговоров про континенты, которые ушли под воду. And of course we have a lot of discussions about Atlantis, about Mu, about continents underwater. Now we have beginning of underwater archaeology. Сейчас у нас начинается подводная археология. Это новое направление науки. But of course it is very, very complicated because first of all it takes a lot of resources to make it. Second, underwater everything is covered with segmentation, and even if there are something, it's very difficult to find something. Ну и вот это действительно развивающаяся область, которая уже интересные результаты показывает, но, конечно, очень сложно, потому что понимаете, что под водой надо работать, это намного дороже, это намного сложнее, только на определенной глубине можно что-то делать, и плюс очень быстро под водой все покрывается сегментацией. То есть там я сам занимался раскопками подводными, это, конечно, вытащить оттуда что-то из-под воды. Однажды в Греции, на Кипре, мы нашли древнюю амфору, и у нас заняло 3 дня ее просто оттуда вытащить, потому что она вросла уже в камень. So I just, as a funny example, some time ago in Crete, with my friends, we found ancient amphora, Greece amphora, underwater. And it took us 3 days of diving to cut this amphora from stone, because it was totally embedded in stone. And finally we were able to get it out and to place somewhere. And there are a lot of data that about 10,000 years ago, it was a big catastrophe. You know, it is proven again now that it was several catastrophes on the Earth related to big meteorites. It was proven. And for example, one of the most proved theories that dinosaurs was gone because of huge asteroid that was in Yucatan area. And this Gulf, Mexican Gulf, now is considered as a track of this asteroid. So, and now it is a lot of data collected that it was real some catastrophe. For example, it is shown that mammoths and a lot of ancient animals, they died instantly. They was not dying, but a lot of them, they died instantly. That's why in our museum in St. Petersburg, you can find mammoths with all 4, and they found grass inside the belly, inside the stomach. Would he be dying, then this grass would be a process. I mean, deteriorating, but it's real grass, so they were able to extract grass. Ну и вот сейчас много очень данных про то, что была какая-то некая катастрофа. В частности, например, в Сибири очень много найдено кладбищ мамонтов, и показано, что они мгновенно все погибли. Мгновенно. Большое количество, там, 1000 мамонтов, которые мгновенно погибли. И там они прекрасно сохранены. В частности, например, там видно трава у них в животе. Если бы они просто умерли и разлагались постепенно, то там, естественно, ничего бы не осталось. Так что этих данных много. And you know that now in Yakutia, in Siberia, the best, I would say, one of the good way of source of income to find these mammoth tusks, and they sell it out. In Hong Kong, you can find a shop where they sell these mammoth tusks. It's not expensive. Ну и вот, в частности, в Якутии у нас очень прибыльный бизнес – это искать вот эти вот бивни мамонтов. Их очень много там. Ну и потом они их продают куда-то. И вот в Гонконге я как-то был в магазинчике, где резная мамонтова кость. И не очень дорого даже. So, it was, now we have a lot of data that about 13,000 years ago it was this cosmic catastrophe. So it was some comet that crashed in the Earth. And of course it created huge wave of 100 meters high. And this wave was coming through Earth several times. And all civilizations that was there by that time, they were totally gone, absolutely sure. You can imagine if this type of wave coming, then of course it can wipe out everything. And we have stories about this Noi ships board in all cultures, in different cultures. It's not only Christianity, it's not only Judaism. It is Mesopotamia, it is same legends we have in Malaysia, same legends we have in Indonesia, in South America. So it's same story about people who survived this. And then it is quite possible that someone survived and someone was able to come to other places and then start civilization process in other places. And of course, it's always a question about aliens, whether it is extraterrestrials. Frankly speaking, I don't like this idea because for me, it's first of all, from biological point of view, we know that carbon type of life is most beneficial because carbon has 4 type of valencies and carbon has created much more different combinations compared with any other element. And they are very easily communicate with water, interact with water. That is most beneficial for water life. And as water, as Professor told us, it's the second element in nature, then of course we understand that all life should be based on water. And that's why most likely that other types of life, there should be carbon life. Then most likely that even if it's some extraterrestrials, they look like us. Very likely. But they have, maybe they have 3 fingers. Maybe, who knows? Maybe not. So that's why to make distinguish between, I would say, human lines of human and extraterrestrials, for us it is impossible. Even, of course, if you find some ship staying there that would crash, then it's another story, but it never was found. So that is why for Maria and Vavita, we believe that it was maybe some line of humans unknown to us, same as Neanderthals, Denisovans, maybe one more line, and with elongated skulls. And those people, as they had elongated skulls, the volume of brain was much bigger. Then they was maybe more clever, maybe. And they were rulers. And in Stonehenge data, they demonstrated that it really was a ruling class. And they were coming to different parts of the world as rulers, but then slowly they were wiped out. Again, it's simple, known to us laws of genetics and biology. If it's little population, that slowly it's wiped out. Plus, as any aristocrats, they had only inbreeding between themselves, and then again, this doesn't allow them to survive. Ну и вот я еще раз говорю, что я не очень верю в эту теорию инопланетных существ, потому что нет никаких оснований для нее. Ну и более того, у нас нет никаких доводов, чтобы мы могли отличить инопланетянина от человека. Если у них была такая же углеродная жизнь, то они будут, в принципе, очень вероятно похожи на нас. Ну, может, 3 пальца имеют, может, нет. Вот, поэтому Мария и Вавита, они могут принадлежать, ну, либо к инопланетянам, либо к какой-то линии человечества, которая возникла когда-то в древности, которая развивалась определенным образом, ну, а потом исчезла. Но это люди вот, были с удлиненными черепами, это, может, там 3 пальца, может, там 8, 6, которые приезжали, их цивилизация погибла, это очень вероятно, как я отметил, и потом они попадали к другим народам и вносили цивилизацию этим народам. И легенды об этом есть практически у всех народов. So all ancient nations, they have legends about wise people who was coming to them and giving them everything, giving them education, knowledge, civilization, and so it's very, very likely to have it. And one more topic I want to make shortly, because it will be next lecture, but I would just give some our impressions about Bosnian pyramids. We have here a great person, fantastic person, Dr. Sem Asmanagic. He's over there at the back, and he will be presenting after maybe a short break. And he was the discoverer of Bosnian pyramids. And it's a little city, little place in Bosnia, little village that was absolutely unknown to the world before Dr. Asmanagic. Now there are several thousand, hundreds of thousands tourists coming there every year. Because he was able to make excavation. He's a professional archaeologist, PhD. He had education in the United States and his degree from the United States. And he found this type of slabs on the big pyramid, on this type of construction. And then, but it was in other pyramids. Now he found 3 pyramids at least. And in this pyramid, they made excavation. And you see this is type of, in excavation it's clear that it is artificial layers done from slabs, and it is type of tiling all over the pyramid. Ну и вот, значит, вот на пирамиде, там вы видели пирамиду Солнца, это пирамида Луны. Он всего обнаружил 3 пирамиды такие. И вот совершенно очевидно, что это сделано человеком. Тут сомнений никаких нету. Причем они вскрывали по всей пирамиде. Доктор Сэм великий человек, потому что он великий археолог и бизнесмен. То есть он сумел все это организовать, используя свои собственные деньги, без всякой какой-то внешней поддержки, и сумел все это сделать. В частности, ему пришлось купить кусок этой пирамиды, кусок горы, для того, чтобы там проводить раскопки. Ну и вот в разных местах он делал вскрытия, и все эти вскрытия, они показывают вот такую вот искусственную территорию. So he did excavations in different parts of this pyramid. He will tell us more. And you see it is again type of not the type of tiling that we are using in our civilization. It's not industry done. It was done by ancient technology, but it's clear that it's type of slabs, and some of them quite big. But you see, they are same. It is artificially constructed slabs. Some of them are huge, several tons. So, and it's 3 pyramids. He will tell us more. And it's very interesting construction. But even more than that, there are tunnels. Under all pyramids, there are tunnels. Again, it was his discovery. All tunnels was totally filled with earth. And for 10 years, they are doing excavation of these tunnels. Now it's possible to go there. They are very well preserved now. And it is no doubt that it's artificial tunnels. No doubts. Because this is all those tunnels, they have egg form, egg shape. And the size of these tunnels are normal for my size of human to walk there. And some side tunnels, they are closed with walls like this. Again, you understand it's not natural, it's absolutely artificial wall, no doubts. Now they uncovered several kilometers of the tunnels. It's open, some of them for public, some of them are still closed. But they think that's much more of this. He made a big park around, and we did a lot of measurements with Sputnik as well. I've been there twice, last year, this year, and I did measurement inside tunnels, outside of tunnels, with people, before, after, and it was absolutely, again, same story. It was very big level of energy on the Sun and Moon pyramid. So Sun pyramid, Moon pyramid, then another pyramid tumulus, lower energy but still high in tunnels, and numbers was correlating last year, and this year it was practically same numbers, same. And in tunnels it was a little bit different, but in principle it was 2 types of tunnels, with high energy and with low energy. So with pyramids, and of course it was much higher than in hotel. Of course, control samples was in hotel, and people before and after tunnels. So level of stress for all people came down, energy came up, energy became much better, balance. So you see it was all measured. So, and Sam of course will tell much more about this. But I believe that it all related to anything else. All our mummies, this measurement of ancient subjects in Peru, in other places that we are doing, and tunnels as well, and Bosnian pyramids. And of course, we have more questions than answers, but only when we know that we don't know the answer, science begins. Ну и вот понятно, что пока у нас вопросов гораздо больше, чем ответов. Те даже исследования, которые мы провели, это только, так сказать, первые шаги, которые задают больше вопросов, чем ответов, но только когда мы имеем какие-то вещи, которые нам непонятны, мы можем говорить о науке. Тогда наука начинается. Ну и вот спасибо, thank you for the attention. And now I want to suggest you maybe 10 or 15 minutes break for sanitary purpose, and then another presentation of Sam.